Hello and welcome to our next StableNet Snapshot video. This is going to be our last video of 2021, and it's just a couple days before the release of our main release StableNet 11 that's coming out this month. So we're excited to show today some of the main features, or really one of the main features of that release, and that is the StableNet Portal. And so with no further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into it. In total, basically we'll first focus on the operational features here in StableNet in the portal. And one of the most important ones of these is the group analyzer and the category analyzer and the status matrix and open alarms. So we'll be looking at some of those. We can see the open alarms. You can see symptoms as well if you'd like, and to set up the alarms the way you want. But the new features in the last couple months have been the analyzer. The analyzer does actually the same thing as the Java GUI, but it's just one other way of being able to achieve certain tasks. So for example, like in the Java GUI, you have your tree here. You can select here the router lab, a device, and measurements. Here are the ping measurements of one router here. Now the data has been called up, and it's already shown here in this nice chart here. We have a list of available metrics, chosen measurement, and I can select that I only want to show, for example, the round trip time. And we have data visualization. So we can customize the chart. I can turn off the legend, for example, or the helper lines, or even the title. And if I don't like the title, I can also always just change it and put in a custom title right here. So I'll call it round trip time, and it updates immediately, very conveniently. No clicking on the plot to change it. It happens here conveniently on the fly, except of course for data loading. The chart itself is also responsive to your mouse and keyboard inputs. For example, you can zoom in here. I can move the chart around. I do this by holding down the control key simultaneously as I drag around. If I don't, then it's a different functionality of zooming in and out, choosing the area. I can choose SLA markers. That's another option. So I can choose a marker of, let's say, a start value of 80 milliseconds. And it immediately pops up here, the red line. And the same options as well in the Java GUI. You can also show the measurement data or in a table, and can again set an SLA marker. This time I'll focus on round trip time. So I provide a column. Each SLA marker needs its own column. And I have the same functionalities. I can do the color the full row or just the cell. I can do the background or simply the digit. And I can give a range as well. I could, for example, I don't have the correct data here, but everything between 4 and 8 milliseconds should be shown. And that would work as well. Here you can see it. Of course, it's also possible to have several different measurements in the analyzer. I can add another one here. Now I have these two added. I can switch between both of them. But I can also here, let me remove that real quick. Remove some of those SLA markers. And I can choose the metrics again that I want to include. So let's just do the round trip time again. And now I see both of them in the chart. I can also combine them. For example, an average or a summary of both, and so on. I can also specify an update interval if I want for just the latest measurement data. So that's where we're at right now with this view. And again, as I mentioned, you'll be able to access this next week with StableNet 11. And it certainly is a comfortable way of being able to access your StableNet installation and get insights relatively quickly. We can also head over to the group analyzer. The group analyzer, of course, can do everything that the old group analyzer could do, the old one, but it has a nice feature, which is the columns aggregation feature down here. So we can scroll down here, statistic types. I can do the inventory and then the type of report. So I'll do the device table. Let me find that. Here we go. Device details table and all devices here. And now let's say I want to know how many devices we have for each vendor. Of course, there's a dedicated report, but let's say I want to do it here for the purpose of this example, and I can do it with columns and aggregations by saying that I want to group all devices by device vendor. And then add here, I'm going to count how many names are in each group, for example. And I'll call the column count. And then load data. And now there's the distribution of devices per vendors. And I can also do more. For example, what is the highest memory for each of the groups and each of the vendors for any of the devices? Again, just an example question. So I'll make a new column, memory column, let's say. The type will be the maximum aggregation function, and I will call it max memory. Then I can load the data. Again, we need to press load data for each UI change. It's a reporting request, so we press load data in order to get the new information. And now I can see maximum memory of any Cisco device, for example, here would be 512, and so on. And I can use this table that I just created with the new aggregation functions to display, for example, a donut chart. So let's say I want to look at the count as a donut chart. And now we have the distribution of devices by device vendors. So there are 53 Linux devices, for example, here, 25 Microsoft devices, and so forth. We can also do bar charts. So we can look at, again, device vendors, maximum memory on this one. And yeah, for example, the line chart, but that wouldn't make sense for this, this current report because there's no time data. And the really fun feature with this aggregation is you can build your reports how you like, how you want. And so for this, we've also included some new report types. For example, here, the taggables. Go down to device tables, report type, which at the first glance really isn't that much different from the device table we just looked at. But the difference is in these taggable tables, you always have the custom tag categories as the last columns. They're already attached. So that means you can use custom tags to create your own reports and your own charts in the group analyzer. And that's something that we're excited to bring out with this release. It's a nice feature. I think it should be valuable for you. Yeah, so that's about the group analyzer, tag filters, and table filters. So we can keep going now. We'll look at the category analyzer. This is also now included in the StableNet Portal. It works exactly like the one you possibly already know from the Java GUI. And the status matrix as well. Again, exactly like the Java GUI. You can choose severities and then plot and go through the data. You can specify tag filters if you need for included elements, but it works just like the Java GUI, yeah. Then I have, let's see, we can look at the maintenance view. That would be something, and maintenance management into the portal. So you can schedule maintenances conveniently in the portal. You can do this, for example, through the inventory table. Right mouse click, go down here, schedule maintenance, for example. And then here are all the measurements down below that are included in the maintenance. I can exclude them if I prefer. I can go ahead and give it a name up here. I'll call it webinar maintenance. And the mode. And then I can choose when I want it to start. I can either do that immediately, or I can pick a custom range that I prefer. For example, in the Christmas holidays, there's a maintenance that's already been scheduled, so I can select that. And then schedule it, and now we see it. You can see that it's pending. And so if we go to the maintenance view, the maintenance view allows you to view all affected devices, or all devices that are affected by any maintenance in the past or in the future. Ones that have, for example, been affected by maintenances in the last few hours, as you can specify with a time offset. So here, for example, one device that's going to be affected. But I can change that. 12 hours, I can drag it up. Go back in time, 25, 35 hours. You can see I ran some other maintenances in the previous days. And you can see those popping up as well, those devices. And this view is useful, for example, so you can see these examples were affected by maintenances down below. But it's obvious the problem hasn't been fixed yet. The status is still red. So maybe I need to drill down and check what the maintenance did, whether or not it achieved what it was supposed to do, or if I need to schedule a new one. So that's the primary purpose of this view. So I think that's a pretty good place to stop here. I want to thank you for your time, and we look forward to showing you more information, more videos, and new features with the new release StableNet 11. Thanks for coming. Bye.